Today we will talk about the 2025 suspense thriller, Dark Nun. This film is set in a convent where darkness and mystery go hand in hand. The strange secrets hidden in the walls of a deserted ancient convent, the unknown antics of the nuns, and the untold story of a newly ordained nun. Everything is going to make you swoon. So without any delay, let's get started. At the beginning of the film, Sister Junior enters a house surrounded by a frightening atmosphere, where strange negative energy is felt in every corner. There is a boy named June, who is trapped in the clutches of a demonic spirit. Some time ago, a priest came to rescue him, but he proved ineffective in front of this powerful demon. As soon as Sister Junior steps into the room, her eyes fall on the priest. His shoulder is deeply injured, but still he is somehow standing. His assistant was trembling with fear. Seeing all this, Sister Junior decides to take control of the situation, even though she knows that it is strictly forbidden for Catholic nuns to perform such rituals. There was also a pig nearby that could serve as a medium to trap the demon. If it was killed, the demon would be destroyed. But before that, Sister Junior sprinkled holy water on June and asked her assistant to ring the church bells. After that, she held June's head in her hands and began chanting powerful mantras. The prayers immediately showed results. June's body began to shake violently, and blood began to flow from her ears. But the demon still did not leave her body completely. Sister Junior continues her prayers and forces the demon to tell her his real name. But instead of revealing his identity, the demon began threatening Sister Junior in a terrifying tone. "You won't see spring this year. Your death will be so horrible that it will be beyond human imagination. Fathers and nuns like you have held us captive for centuries, but now we will not let you go." Sister Junior was not deterred by his threats. She intensified her prayers, causing June's body to ache even more. Then suddenly he fell to the ground unconscious. But Sister Junior knew that this was just a momentary respite. The demon was still not completely gone. So, she decided to immediately admit June to the church hospital to complete the further ritual. Jun's mother told the doctor that her son was possessed by supernatural powers. But Dr. Paolo, who is also a priest, refused to believe it. He believed that no demon or evil spirit could take over a human body. According to him, all this is just a figment of the mind and has no scientific basis. Meanwhile, Jun's mother tries her best to make Paolo understand that this is not a mental illness but the influence of a demonic power. But Paolo believes it to be multiple personality disorder and says that June is currently in an extremely aggressive state. Despite this, his mother is completely convinced that her son is possessed by some demonic power. June was subjected to several exorcisms, but each time failed. Even two experienced fathers failed to free her. But one day, Sister Junior came and took control of the situation. Hearing this, Dr. Paolo is shocked, as he knew that in the Catholic tradition, nuns were not allowed to perform such rituals. It was completely against the rules. For this reason, Sister Junior is called to appear before the church authorities. At the meeting, Sister Junior explains that the situation had worsened at that time and she had no other option. Therefore, she decided to perform an exorcism. However, she also clarifies that June is still not completely safe and needs another ritual. Sister Junior requests the church authorities to call Father Kim and Father Joy, as they are experts in this field and have years of experience in such cases. She tells that there is not one but several demons living inside June, and one of them is so powerful that he has not even revealed his name till now. But the church administration does not take her warning seriously and considers her words to be an exaggeration. Meanwhile, Sister Junior goes to the same priest who had already failed to save June. There, she tries to understand the whole story. The priest explains in detail about June's past and her current condition, which makes it clear that this case is not ordinary, but extremely dangerous. He handed over the scary pictures he had made to Sister Junior, which were influenced by demonic forces. After this, he entrusted Sister Junior with the responsibility of eliminating this evil spirit. But as soon as Sister Junior leaves from there, the priest starts behaving strangely. It soon becomes clear that he too has been possessed by evil forces. According to Christian beliefs, if a priest fails to exorcise a spirit, he himself may become a victim of those demons. This unfortunate incident happened with this priest as well. Sister Junior then goes to meet Dr. Paolo. She wants permission to remove the demonic influence from June. But Dr. Paolo was completely disbelieving. He flatly refuses and says that June will not be discharged from the hospital. Sister Junior tries her best to convince him, recites various verses from the Bible where the process of exorcism is mentioned. But Dr. Paolo does not relent and says in clear words, "As long as Hejun is my patient, I will not release her for any exorcism ritual." To this, Sister Junia firmly replies, "I will save Hejun at any cost, no matter what lengths I have to go to." Next, a scene of Hejun's mother, who was heavily in debt. Her lenders were constantly making threatening phone calls. A cruel man says on the phone, "Your husband is dead, and now that crazy son of yours will die soon too." Hearing this, Hejun's mother is completely devastated. She looks at her son for the last time, and then commits suicide by jumping out of the window in deep depression. As she falls, sounds echo around. People rush towards her in panic. Dr. Paolo and his assistant, Dr. Michaela, immediately arrive at the scene. Sister Junia was also present there, but as she stands near the dead body, she starts hearing strange demonic voices from all around. Sister Junia feels strong negative energy. It becomes clear that the battle is now even more dangerous than before. Sister Junia's unique ability was that she could sense the presence of negative energies. As soon as she sensed the demonic forces, she began to recite some prayers to get rid of this sinister energy. Dr. Michaela carefully observed Sister Junia's actions, but stood silently. As night falls, Sister Junia visits Dr. Michaela alone. Since Dr. Michaela was also a sister from the church, Sister Junia shared with her the secret of her unique power. "I can sense demonic energies," she said in a deep voice. "I'm sure Hejun is possessed by demons. We have to exorcise her. Will you help me?" Sister Junia's eyes gleam with determination. After this, she surprisingly reveals another secret. "I know you're just like me, Dr. Michaela. You have a unique power hidden inside you. Demonic children are children born to mothers who are under the influence of a demon during or before pregnancy. In the process, they become imbued with demonic energies, making them different from ordinary children. Such children may possess extraordinary powers. They can become amazing magicians. They can protect others from demonic forces. They can fight ghosts. But Dr. Michaela did not use this power. Instead of becoming a magician, she joined the church service and later became a doctor. Now she was serving in the church hospital, but she always kept this secret hidden from everyone. Sister Junia already knew this truth. When Dr. Michaela was getting angry and wanted to end the conversation, Sister Junia placed June's entire case file in front of her. "Please read it," Sister Junia said politely. "We have to find a way to save June." Dr. Michaela remained silent for a while, then picked up the file and left. After reaching her home, Dr. Michaela opened her wardrobe and took out a mysterious deck from there. These were tarot cards, by looking at which the future could be predicted. She carefully laid out her cards and studied them with deep concentration. In a few moments, a bizarre scene appeared before her. Lots of dead goats, blood all around, and a terrifying figure surrounded by darkness. It was a prophecy, indicating that even more terrible things were to come. Michaela chose two of her tarot cards. One had an image of a demon and the other a high priestess. As she looked at these cards, flashes of the past rose in her mind. In fact, she used to read these cards with her sister earlier. Both sisters were born as demonic children. As mentioned earlier, demonic children are those whose mother has come under the influence of a demon. Michaela's sister was also one such child, as her mother had a demon inside her. Many efforts were made to treat her sister, but ultimately she could not be saved. After her death, her spirit began to haunt Michaela. Every night, horrifying visions would appear before her. Sometimes her sister's face, sometimes scary eyes glowing in the dark. It got so intense that Michaela even needed therapy. However, after a while, she decided to give up and run away. Even now, when Michaela was looking at tarot cards, the same terrifying scenes from the past came before her. Her heart began to beat faster, her breathing became labored, and she woke up in a panic. Suddenly, she noticed that her phone was ringing. The name flashed on the screen. Sister Junia. Michaela picked up the phone with trembling hands. "I know you just had a nightmare." Sister Junia's voice was grave. "Because I can feel the evil forces." The next day, Sister Junia convinced Michaela to take Hee-jun to an exorcist for an exorcism. This exorcist was none other than Sister Junia's old acquaintance. She was once a sister in the church, but because she was also a demon child, she eventually chose to become a witch. The exorcism ritual begins. It was a water ritual. Hee-jun was to be purified by dipping her in water. Several animals were sacrificed in this ritual, as the plan was to transfer all the demons inside Hijun into these animals and then destroy them. But what happened was very different from their expectations. The demons were more powerful than they had imagined. They completely took over the ritual. As a result, all the animals were killed, and the entire ritual was thrown into chaos. Haiwon, who was present at the ritual, was deeply shocked by the whole incident. When the ritual failed, everyone had to return empty-handed. On the way, Hava noticed that Sister Junia was not feeling well. Her eyes looked heavy and her face had turned pale. In fact, Sister Junia had cancer, and Haven began to feel that she might not have much time left. In a worried tone, he told Sister Junia, "You have to take care of yourself." They returned to the church where Dr. Paolo was already waiting angrily. As soon as Michaela entered the church, he burst out, "How dare you two take June for an exorcism without my permission?" He looked at Michaela with deep eyes and said, "I can't say anything about Sister Junia, but I didn't expect such stupidity from you. Are you really starting to believe in these superstitions?" His voice was harsh. "Michaela, this is not a case of ghosts. This is just a mental disorder. Do you remember when you came here 17 years ago? You too had the same fears and delusions. You were treated and now you are fine." After listening to Dr. Paolo, something inside Michaela started breaking. She took a deep breath and said in a steady voice, "Sorry, doctor, but my fears are still alive. They never went away." While leaving the church, Michaela met a woman. She looked very happy and said with a smile, "I am very happy that now I am going to my son." But the very next moment, something happened in front of Michaela's eyes that blew her mind. The woman's whole body started turning black, and in no time she dissolved into the air and disappeared. Shivering, Michaela immediately ran towards her room. The sight that she saw there took her breath away. The woman was lying dead. So then, who was the person she had just spoken to? Her spirit? This experience shook Michaela to the core. Even after she returned home, she continued to feel uneasy thinking about it. Dreams began to haunt her. Every scene seemed terrifying and a warning. She realized that all this was happening because she did not help Jun. Finally, she made a decision. She called Sister Junia and said in a firm voice, "No more delay. I am ready to help Junin." After this, they took June to the church. This time, Dr. Paolo was also with them. The exorcism process began. Sister Junia sprinkled holy water first. June suddenly became violet. His eyes turned red like burning ashes. In anger, he first grabbed Sister Junia's neck and started squeezing it hard. Then he attacked Dr. Paolo. Michaela did not understand anything. For a moment, she thought about what to do. Then she picked up a chair lying nearby and hit Jun with full force. This can cause the demons to become even more powerful. Dr. Michaela's attack proved effective, and the demon inside Jun calmed down for a while. As soon as he regained consciousness, Jun started crying bitterly. "Save me, please! These demons will kill me! I don't want to die!" His pitiful voice echoed throughout the room. But the failure of this exorcism process had shocked everyone. Jun was sent back to the hospital while Michaela and Sister Junia discussed the matter thoroughly. "We need to know the name of the demon that has possessed Jun. Unless we know its true name, we cannot exorcise it completely," Junia said seriously. Michaela did the card reading herself this time. As she flipped the cards, a deep uneasiness crossed her face. "We will need a third person to find out the name of the demon," she said softly. The two of them went to their two experienced priests to ask for help, but they were too busy with religious ceremonies to come in person. "Sister Junia, this responsibility is yours," they said. "You must exorcise Jun with utmost care." But the problem remained. What was the demon's name? The priests gave a hint. His name may be associated with an animal. This was an important clue, but it was not enough. Michaela expressed concern. "We will also need the key to heaven, but it will not be so easy to obtain." The key to heaven was extremely sacred in Christianity, and it was very difficult to entrust it to anyone. Meanwhile, Sister Junia went to Haiwon, hoping he would help them. But Haiwon said without hesitation, "I cannot help you with this." He also gave them a warning. The lunar month is near. When it is over, the demons will be at their full power. If you make a hasty mistake, the consequences could be disastrous. Now Michaela and Junia were faced with two major challenges: how to find out the demon's real name, and how to complete the exorcism without the key to heaven. Time was short, and darkness was slowly closing in on them. I am not alone, and you will not be able to bear my truth. The demon's voice echoed throughout the church as if someone had ripped the air apart. The walls of the church trembled, and the candles burning inside suddenly went out. The holy water in Sister Junia's hands began to shake, but she composed herself. If you are not alone, then who is with you? She asked coldly. The demon laughed a strange laugh and replied, I have more shadows than you can see, and I am one of them. Meanwhile, an order from the church management had made the situation even more serious. They had obtained the key to heaven, but on one condition: the demon had to be sent to hell, whether June survived or not. Does this mean we have to let June die? Michaela asked worriedly. Dr. Paolo, who did not believe in exorcisms, had been calm until now, but he protested when he heard this. We can't sacrifice a human being. I'm sure it's a mental disorder, not a demon. But just as he said this, June's eyes suddenly turned dark. His voice became deep and abnormal. Dr. Paolo, do you think it's a disease? The demon said in a sarcastic tone. Suddenly the windows of the church slammed shut. Sister Junia panicked and increased her prayers, but this time they were not as effective. The demon had become stronger than ever. Say, what is your name? Junia asked loudly. The demon shouted in anger. You will not be able to bear my name. But Sister Junia was not one to back down. I am God's servant, and in God's name you must speak your truth. The demon laughed loudly, but there was a pain in his laughter. If you must know, listen. The air inside the church became heavy and everything seemed to stop. The demon called out his name, a name that made Junia's face turn pale. I will bear you in my body. Just tell me your name. At Junia's words, the church fell into an eerie silence. Everyone waited with bated breath for the demon's response. The demon laughed in a deep, thunderous voice. Are you really that stupid, Junia? You don't even know what you have asked for. But there was no fear in Junia's eyes. She stood fearless with her faith and determination. The demon yelled angrily, If you really want my name, listen up. The walls of the church shook. The windows trembled violently. The people conducting the shaman rituals began to panic. Then, the demon slowly said his name. A name that had been buried for thousands of years. A name that made the air stand still. My name is Zephyrus. Junia felt strange vibrations running through her body at the mention of the name. Unknown voices echoed loudly in her ears, but she controlled herself. Zephyrus, I command you to come out of this body in the name of God, Junia said loudly. The demon began to scream louder. Havon's assistant, who was conducting the ritual outside, increased the chanting of the incantations. Darkness spread all around. The church candles began to light and extinguish on their own. Michaela quickly picked up the key of heaven and extended it towards Junia. Hold it! Only this can stop him now. Junia grabbed the key of heaven with trembling hands and raised it in front of Zephyrus. Now your end has come! The entire church echoed with the demon's screams. His shadows danced rapidly on the walls as if some invisible force was pulling him. Then a bright light flashed, and the next moment, everything in the church became quiet. Was this the end? Was Zephyrus gone forever? Junia thought as she collapsed to the ground in exhaustion. Or was this just the beginning? I summon you into my body, Zephyrus. Release John. Along with Junia's resonating voice, the room shook violently. June screamed loudly, and her eyes turned white. A few moments later, her body slowly returned to normal, as if a burden was being released from within her. But this was just the beginning. As the demon released June, a strange sight appeared before Junia, a spiritual world where June stood, smiling. There was gratitude in her eyes. Thank you, Sister Junia, for saving me. But in the real world, everything began to fall apart. The walls began to shake, furniture began to flip, and flames began to spread in the air. Junia's body was getting weak, but she did not give up. She looked at Michaela and said, Take June to the church. Ring the church bell 3 times loud enough for me to hear. But why aren't you coming with me? Michaela asked nervously. Junia touched Michaela with her tired hands and said softly, I've taken her inside me. This is the only way now. Something broke in Michaela's heart. She wanted Junia to go with her, but it was too late. Wiping away her tears, she decided to grab June and head out. But as soon as they stepped out, dozens of demonic rats came in their way. Their red eyes were glowing, and they were making strange noises in the dark. The rats created chaos on the street, bringing all traffic to a standstill. "We have to get to the church quickly." Haywan's assistant knew that time was running out. He said to Michaela, "You run, I'll handle it here." Michaela mustered up the courage and rushed to the church with Heejun. As soon as the heavy doors of the church opened, Michaela ran straight to the bell. Without wasting a moment, she pulled the rope with all her strength. The first bell rang and Heejun's darkening body stirred. Dang. As the second bell rang, Heejun's breathing became faster. Dang! With the third bell, a bright light spread out. Her eyes opened, and the black color of her body disappeared. The demon had left her. Michaela breathed a sigh of relief, but there was one more battle to come. Junia. When Michaela stepped out of the church, she saw that Junia was now in the middle of the flames. She had placed the key to heaven on her body and had imprisoned the demon within. Now this demon will never be able to harm anyone else. The flames rose to the sky. Michaela screamed, "Junia, no!" But Junia smiled. "It is my duty now, Michaela." And the next moment, her image dissolved into the fire. The ashes flew into the sky, and with them, the demon Zephyrus was gone forever. Heejun was now safe. The church was quiet, but Michaela had tears in her eyes. She looked up at the sky and muttered, "Was this really the end, Junia? Or is this just a new beginning?" Michaela's eyes were filled with tears, but she also felt something else inside her, the feeling of a new journey beginning. Junia had already decided this. Now she understood why Junia sacrificed herself. Kans had already set the clock on her life, but she chose her end with a purpose, to save Heejun. Amidst the ashes and the smell of a burning building, Father Paolo retrieves a glowing object from the rubble, the key to heaven. He hands it over to his management, saying, "Now I also believe that these demons are real. We have to stop them." A few weeks later, Heejun and Michaela were sitting in a car. The long road stretched out before them, and they had a new mission. "There are still 12 more demons left," Michaela said, looking at the map. Heejun nodded firmly. "We will find them and send them to where they will be locked up forever. Hell." The camera slowly pans up. Fog spreads on both sides of the road. Far away in the darkness, some red eyes glow. This journey is not over yet. The screen goes black. The end.